All right, guys, so we're here taking a look at a new property we got called out to. This is actually down the street from one of our other big properties that we do. One of the management companies that we do property for. Now we actually do two properties for. We got called out to a third one, and again, they have a much bigger landscape company on the property. And they wanted to give us a call again, as what they feel for what they need is a better alternative. So I'm gonna come out here. I came out here and I met the couple of board members, really sweet people. I met a couple of the board members the other day, and they just expressed, first thing I ask when I get down to it is what is it that you do not like? And so a big thing for them is, which a lot of people's problems are, is communication. They feel that this company, again, they're such a huge company that's here too. They feel that the company just doesn't reach out to them, just doesn't communicate with them, doesn't really follow through on everything they say that they're going to do. And so they're over that. They're okay with the quality of work. I mean, I think the quality of work is pretty good, driving through the place. But the thing for them is when you say you're going to do something, to do it. And if you can't do it, then let them know you can't do it. So that's their big thing. So I got to get out, and I have to go walk around like some of the bad spots in the property. And squirrel! Drive around some of the bad spots of the property and take, some photos, some videos, and give them some good ideas on things that can, the things that can be improved and all that stuff. So we're gonna go drive around. They told me about one part in particular. They said when you first come in, I mean, it's things like this. Here, I'm gonna show you guys, okay? I'm gonna show you. You see that? It's things like this. It's not, their ligustrums just, they say never get trimmed, and you can see that they're not. Their ligustrums just don't ever get trimmed. I mean, look. You know what I'm saying? You can see it. Let me come in here. Check that out. They said that it'll stay like this. They just said it's always like this. They said that they're pretty good about trimming the smaller hedges, but when it comes to these ligustrums and everything, they just don't take care of it. So. Some other things that they had, they said that they just had a lot of hedge problems, like with hedges dying. So that's probably, I mean, that could be a number of things, honestly. And I told them, in all fairness, it's could be a number of things. So we're going to come back out here to the front, and we're going to, this is near the entrance right here. This property is roughly, I think, about 27 acres, roughly, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and let this car go. So this property is about 27 acres. Obviously, I already drove in through there. But they told me that one of their big things was when you come in, which would be right here, and you come to the right, there's just a bunch of stuff behind the buildings. Now, they just had them clean out all of this stuff right here, and I guess the company's supposed to come back, and they're supposed to pick up and clean up like all the dead brown stuff. You can see there's definitely a lot of trees on the property, a lot of trees, and a lot of trees always makes it a lot of fun to maintain. But yeah, there's ligustrums everywhere that just aren't trimmed. Here, I mean, look, there's more. I don't know if you guys can make that out. Yeah, it's just everywhere. They just said it's just all the time, constantly all the time. All right, guys. So we're gonna come back here. I'm gonna show you an area they just had all of this stuff cleared out, and they just had all this stuff cleared out, and then they said that nobody had really offered any suggestions to clean it out. So this right here is just a bunch of palms, that were cleaned out. I guess it was really dense. They kind of wanted to open it up, and it stretches, all the way back there, probably about 400 feet. So, I mean, I obviously just, suggested maybe going in there and picking up, like, the big debris, like right there and all that stuff, and and then just filling this up with pine straw. Obviously, that's probably clearly the only thing that, you know, I would do, as far as if you're not going to bring dirt in here and, you know, excavate all this stuff and landscape it or add sod to it. So I suggested, you know, just bringing in some straw and, you know, cleaning this edge line up, you know, defining it really nicely. And I mean, that would just make it at least aesthetically nice. So, and then we have a spot around the corner here. Take you guys over here, where it's all, you know, grass isn't growing, it's all knotted up and everything. And they cleaned up, you know, a lot of the fronds. And so what I suggested was taking out pretty much every single pine tree that's back there. There's like 5 of them. You know, cleaning up that branch, you know, that overhangs right there off the building. Then bringing in a bunch of dirt, leveling this out, putting in a walkway right here, and, you know, mixing it with grass. Of course, making sure that there's irrigation. They do have irrigation back there in the corner, so at least there's spots. You know, the shrub hedge are back there and over there, so at least there's spots to make sure that it is getting irrigation. So yeah, it's just things like that that I have to go through here, and I have to make sure I pay attention to, and I offer them suggestions. And I've touched on this before, and it's just the thing that a lot of these people are looking for. Because, and I actually love when a lot of you guys have been hitting me up more and more regarding the commercial landscape stuff, you know, advice and all that stuff, and anything I can offer you, you know, I'll give you. I mean, it's no big deal, man. The more we share with each other, the more we all grow. You know, just the better it is for all of us. So I'm going to go back here. I haven't been around this part of the building yet. You know, and this is what we get. You can't really trim any of this stuff when we have freezes. What'll happen a lot is when you trim these viburnum, I did tell them this. I'm always, you know, I'm going to try to defend somebody's work, even if they're not doing a good job, but I do see something that they have questions on. I'm going to explain to them. You know, and I'm just not gonna use the opportunity to crap talk somebody like most people do, man. Like, they're like, well, they haven't trimmed the, you know, the viburnum. Well, when there's a freeze, you know, and you're in North Florida, and you have temperatures in the 20s, the teens, 30s, and then you trim these viburnum, and you open that shrub up, what ends up happening is you don't notice it right away. You'll notice it when it starts warming up. And then what you'll notice is a lot of root rot. You'll notice a lot of hedges have huge sections that will just start dying off. And then by the time, you know, spring comes around, you don't understand why they're dying off. Well, it's just a delayed reaction of what happens when you trim this stuff and you get a really hard freeze. So anyways, here's the back of one of the buildings. They just want some suggestions on. You know, you can't really do much in spots like this. You know, you have so many trees, you have natural area in the background. What you do is you just use the natural area, you know, and you kind of keep everything clean and you throw it in the natural area when and if you can. As far as things like leaves that won't mulch up or stuff like that, I mean, it's all good for it anyway. But you definitely need some shade tolerant plants back here. If this is their property, I would suggest that they open tree lines up more, you know. That's probably what I would do. But the hardscape and landscape, you know, whole structure of all of this is nice. I like the property. I think it's pretty sweet. So I'm just going to keep going around building to building, and I'm just going to make some suggestions, put a bid together, and see what happens. You know, when we do these bids, you know, I go around the whole property and we look at things, you know, like you see down there, the grass hits and then they've just sprayed off into the distance, but nobody's edging anything. But you see people use these spots and they do their own little gardens and all that stuff. And you know, you get that a lot when you have people that are owners in these condo associations, and they're not just renters. They like to do a lot of landscaping. You know, they like to do a lot of things. And so we'll usually recognize that and we'll edge off and clean things out. If we see them starting to plant things, you know, just to say, hey, we recognize you're trying to, you know, make something look nice and take your little section of something, and we'll make sure to edge it and clean it all out. It's just those little touches, man, that you know, that unfortunately you just don't really get when you have much larger landscape companies out here, and you know, they get so big and they're doing so good that they become kind of detached, you know, from their business. You know, we see that a lot. So again, guys, these are things that we look for. How many hedges there are, and there are a ton of hedges out here. Ton of hedges. So there's just one. It looks like there's no retention ponds, which will be like a first, which will be kind of awesome. So we look for the amount of hedges, the amount of trees that need to be lifted. There's a lot of trees here, so we keep those things lifted up to about 12 feet. We keep them off of the buildings. We see how many beds there are here, like, you know, how much weed killer we're going to use to spray everything. So, you know, all that stuff. We see how many palm trees they have, which they don't really have many palm trees, and we include that in the monthly also. We take how many palm trees they have, how much it's going to take per palm tree, divide it by 12, and then we include it in the monthly amount. So there's the clubhouse right here. And, you know, for a clubhouse, like, look at the ligustrum that's diseased, dude. I mean, it's just dying. That's the stuff we look at, you know. We just, you know, we need to let them know that, you know, you can avoid stuff like this right here. Like, look at those. Those things are going to be gone. I don't think they're going to survive. So I think that those hedges are pretty much on the way out. Sorry about my finger in the glass. So yeah, I think those things are going to be gone. And they just have, it seems like, I mean, the grass, you know, they're fertilizing the grass and it looks really good, and we always sub that out. The grass, I gotta say, looks pretty awesome. Some of the hedge work, it seems that that's kind of probably where they're dropping the ball so much, as far as health on a lot of the shrubs, because I see a lot of shrub issues. But anyways, you know, for the most part, I think that, you know, the maintenance looks pretty decent. It's just they like things done and they're not getting done, or they're not you know, having the communication of why they're not getting done. So we're going to, I mean, like, they said that that's been there here. They said that that's been there going on 3 weeks. So when you do commercial properties, you can't leave big debris like that sitting there. That's a big no-no. Go on, buddy. Let us pass. So yeah, everything's burnt, man. Everything is frost burnt. So anyways, I'm going to get home. I'm going to give them a bid on this property. Sorry, I'm recording with a much bigger camera than I'm used to. We got a Panasonic G85. Between my boy Jason with Ambrose and his, you know, vlogging expertise helping me pick out a camera, you know, and Jordan with Green Touch, who's like a little film expert, I decided on getting this camera. I wanted to get it for a bunch of different reasons, though. My wife does, you know, really amazing reviews, and she's like 500,000 people deep when it comes to Google stuff, reading her stuff, and you know, I want a nice camera to do, like, you know, videos of the family, pictures, all that stuff, and obviously for our channel. So I gotta get used to though, because this thing is like 30,000 pounds more than my phone. So, but it's all good though. All right, guys, it's probably getting windy and getting loud. I gotta go run some more errands and everything, but let me roll these windows up. So I'll throw you guys, you know, if you got any questions that you really trying to look to get answered when it comes to, you know, bidding on commercial properties, you guys don't hesitate. You know, a lot of you do message me, you know, weekly. I get asked a lot of questions about it, but you guys don't hesitate. You know, just, I don't mind, you know, providing as much information as I can, obviously without compromising myself, but we got a ways for that, man. You know, But there is a lot that goes into bidding commercial properties. So, you know, what I'll do is I sub out the spraying, and I'll sub that out to McCall Services. I love McCall. But it's all just inclusive package, you know. So I take however many annuals they want. If they want mulch done at the end of the year, I measure that. Usually I like to include all of those services, and I break it down in a monthly price. If they want a separate budget for mulch, a separate budget for annuals, and that's fine too. I just let them know that honestly it's easier for all of us just to break it down in a monthly, and then we are the ones that have to come up with the budget at the end of the year to do the mulching every 4 months, you know, or every 3 or 4 months, depending on which schedule we do to do the annuals and all that stuff. So, you know, we include all the mowing, blowing, weed eating, edging, trimming hedges, lifting trees, trimming palm trees, you know, spraying all the beds for weeds, and like I said, subbing out all of the fertilization. So that's how we do our commercial properties, and you know, it works out. People like it, and a big thing is you know, owner on the property, man. Owner on the property. You know, you're taking. I just hate doing names. I hate saying names, but they're, you know, a company that's on here, just like you actually, you know, that one video where I put new property and I went out there, we ended up getting that property, and we took it from a massive company. Put it that way. This here, I think they have like 30 trucks that run here. So if that tells you how big somebody is, I mean, 30 trucks is massive. So we ended up getting that property, and this is the same company that's doing this property for the same management company. So hopefully you know, my goal is to do my part, is to, you know, try to grow us. You know, Leah does an amazing job with pretty much the other half of the business. So my job is to go meet everybody, explain to them what we do, not sell myself or convince them, but make them understand information, and let them make their choice based on that. And so far, it works out well and all that. They love the fact that, you know, owners are on the properties now, ambulance. But they love the fact that owners are on the properties. And so that's a really big deal, and that'll help you solidify a client. You know, that goes a long way. All right, guys.